when I was in my master's degree,
Mhm.
I had this idea of let's start a news network.
Mm.
And I remember speaking to a few friends, and they were kind of like, listen, it's gonna take a lot of money to
To
to do
start this up.
this.
Yeah.
And I don't happen in the case of Trump to have a dad or an uncle that can just leave me a couple million,
Yeah.
just a few million to get you started. I didn't
Just a
have
little,
that.
just a little bit.
So I remember being like, okay, cool, we're gonna have to do a fundraising campaign, and we're gonna have to try and raise £50,000 in 50 days, right? That was the campaign we said we would try and raise, and I really worked hard at that campaign. And in fact, my mum multiple times pulled me to the side and said, like, yo, mate, you're working too hard. Like, you're not looking after yourself. I used to have an afro. Now my hair's very low because I lost most of it during that campaign, right?
Wow.
Because it was really difficult, because we were trying to raise, the average donation size we wanted was like £50. So imagine trying to get to 50,000 in 50 days, and you want people to give £50 each. I mean, anyways, when we achieved it, because we did achieve the goal. When we achieved it, I was so tired that the victory, if we borrow a church term, didn't taste as sweet as I thought it would taste. Because I was almost too tired to enjoy it.
Wow.
I was so deflated and depleted of like energy that when someone's like, we did it, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's so good, right? And I remember telling myself, I don't want to feel like this again. I want victory to taste like victory is meant to taste. And that only happens if you, and I don't know how Christian you want to get up in here, but
do you think, Mike? Do you think
it only happens if you decide not to go faster than God?
Yeah.
And you go at his pace. And you work hard. I'm an advocate of working hard, but you don't kind of take everything into your own hands, and try and almost move a mountain where your prayer life is not happening. You're not really in the mood to fellowship with people no more. Like reading the Bible and getting that spiritual food isn't interesting to you. When hard work is leading to a place where your spiritual life generally is non-existent, it's not really hard work anymore. Now you kind of stepped into I would say a carnal zone where you're just doing it's me, myself, and I, me against the world, rather than saying how do I rely on God's strength. Oddly enough, grace, which I guess we're using here in terms of kindness, has two definitions. Well, has multiple definitions, but two major uses, both in the First Testament and the Second. Yes, it's forgiveness and kindness, right, of God, and that's I would say in the New Testament kind of coined Greek charis sense. That's what we would say. But in the Old Testament, grace also would have meant and means God's proclivity towards nearness, right? So his desire to be near his people, such that he would almost empower them. So God's ruach in the Old Testament, we would say, was an extension of his grace, because his ruach was his personal presence. And so in the New Testament, again, you get that second definition, which is so grace is forgiveness and kindness, but it's also empowerment. Grace is when God is so near us and so with us that we are able to do things that we otherwise wouldn't be able to do. It's empowering, kind of has an empowering quality. And so you could tell with that fundraiser I was doing that I had stepped out of grace. I wasn't being empowered by the Spirit to do this amazing. It was just me just working like a Hebrew slave building Solomon's temple, So I kind of learned the hard way that I can't go faster than God, and I've got to stay in the pocket. If you're a musician, you get what I mean. And if I do that, God often does amazing. Because the thing, God does amazing things through like really weak men and women. God doesn't look for amazing people and then kind of make them more amazing. No, he takes kind of broken vessels pretty much who yield themselves, and he uses them to do amazing things. It took me a while to learn that, but that's what I'm trying to walk in these days.